Hello, Meoni here, and welcome back to a summary of patch 5.25, which went live today, the 7th of April 2020. Now, these are the patch notes, so let's go through them. Essentially, firstly, you should know that this patch has two major pieces of content. Firstly, there's the resistance weapons, which is essentially the new fancy term for relic weapon for combat roles in this patch, and essentially the first stage of that. And the other content is the Sky Steel tools, which are Disciple of Hand-specific relic weapons that are upgradable through future patches as well. So there's those two major pieces of content, and then there are also some other bits as well added to the game that we'll talk about today. So firstly, let's talk about that side quest series, which is the Save the Queen Blades of Gunhilda questline for your relic weapon, or at least the first stage of it added in this patch. So the first quest is Hail to the Queen. This can be picked up in Kugane at X 12.2 Y 12.3 from an NPC Kai-10. You must first have completed the Shadowbringers 5.0 storyline quest and the side quest The City of Lost Angels, which is from completing the Return to Ivalice raid series. We knew previously this was going to be a prerequisite, so it doesn't come as any surprise to me. Essentially, this side quest will lead you up to a duty, and eventually you will gain access to your relic. Next up, we have the Sky Steel tool quest. These can actually be picked up in Foundation at X 14.2 Y 12.5 from the Sky Steel Engineer NPC. You must have first completed the quest Towards the Firmament for this to appear. There are essentially two quests for this, and it will basically take you on a journey to upgrade a weapon using crafting recipes to enhance those tools, which is pretty exciting. So before we get into the further meat and potatoes of those two pieces of content, we should say that the Grand and Free Companies has an update. The graphic text that appears when your free company increases in rank, so when it hits like rank 20 for example, will no longer appear during cutscenes. This is something that's annoyed a few people. Thankfully, they have fixed this, so your immersion is not broken. And you simply don't get that message filling your screen this time, which is all the hype, really. So housing gets some new additions. We have the Furnishing Design Contest winners and runners-up from 2019, or at least some of them. Pictured is a trough of water and some planters, which looks pretty good. We also have a new furnishing picture of a tree stump sort of table there with some food on that, and a lovely wooden chair. We also have this sort of ribbon, what is that called? You see these at the red carpet. Essentially, there is, instead of chains attached to a fence, it's actually just rope, red velvet rope. That's going to be pretty cool. I would like those. These all appear to be indoors items that they're previewing. I'm not sure if there's any external at this point. So there's also new triple triad cards added to the gold saucer, which might be to do with the new NPCs added in these new quest lines. So let's talk about that Resistance Relic questline then, because people will be interested about that. So once you've picked up your quest from Kai-10 in Kugane, essentially it progresses as follows. It says to complete the quest, players must also undertake a lengthy instance duty. In the event you're defeated by one of its bosses, your progression in a duty will be saved, allowing you to challenge them again immediately, rather than start from the beginning. They do say, please be advised that progression will be lost should you log out or undertake a different duty. So if you go through this and you wipe on a particular boss, then you can pick off literally where you just failed, and you don't have to go through the whole thing again, which is really nice, especially if this is not your main job. You might actually have some issues, and yeah, you've got to overcome them. It says obtaining resistance weapons then. Upon completing these quests, players will receive one resistance weapon based for the job in which they progressed through the quest. However, a separate repeatable quest is available for those who wish to earn weapons for additional jobs. So don't worry about it. You will be able to complete a repeatable for everything you have at 80, which is all the hype. I believe these weapons, although it doesn't say here, are something like 485, so in line with the Ruby Weapon Extreme weapons, and beyond that I have absolutely no idea. It says class job specific quests. Certain resistance weapon quests employ a system which will require players to proceed using the same class or job with which they accepted a quest. I mean, they already mentioned that. And future resistance weapon quests. Resistance weapons can be enhanced further by completing the story quest that will be added in future patches. Please note that by enhancing these weapons, they require players to invest a significant amount of time in this content. Well, that should come as no surprise. Every Relic weapon so far has had fairly grindy sections to it, and it's no different here. So I'm pretty hyped for that, and I'll let you know what it's like. Additionally, there is a new trial added to the game, which is just question marks. Nobody knows what this is yet, or at least we shouldn't be posting what this is on the internet. I'm looking at you people on Twitter. Essentially, this is available only in the Raid Finder. You need a 470 item level to gain access to this at level 80. Takes up 8 players and you get a 60-minute timer. I do have information from Reddit directly that this is the way that you upgrade your artifact armor. So like the stuff we got from Shadowbringers to a dyeable version. And I believe it goes up to 480 item level. So that's a pretty good boost up for anybody who hasn't already got that gear. However, you will need to clear this, and apparently the idol received upon completing the trial can be exchanged for rewards. I'm not sure the quota of how many times you would need to do this. Somebody uttered the potential possibility that you'd have to do this 10 times, or at least get 10 totems to exchange for a full set of armor, so we'll have to wait and see. I don't know if that's legit information or not. So that's the Relic weapon stage. That's what we have in the game so far. A solo duty, and then a new, well, presumably extreme trial, which is pretty hype. I want to go and play that today if I can, possibly. So next up we have the strength of the echo granted in Eden's Gate has been increased. This was going to happen sooner or later, and this is a 15% echo increase to all of the Eden's Gate raids. So that's Eden 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you've never cleared those before, it might be a great opportunity to go and do that. They're going to be a lot easier for you to complete, especially on Savage. So a little bit of PvP news. Season 15 of the Feast is beginning. Basically all of the usual information. It will be tracked on a website. If there's any errors, it doesn't track it for the day. Yeah, if you're excited for Season 15, there is a separate page for that. I hear the rewards are going to be interesting. So yeah, enjoy your PvP. It begins today, but you probably already knew that if you're interested. So there's a section on items. Obviously, they don't have the specifics listed here because, you know, it's basically patch notes. They pushed them out. They don't have to put that information on here. They probably will update it, like they say in the red text here, at a later date. They say the following items can now be discarded: the Writ of Beautification and Commendation. Skysteel Tools. Let's go on to this. So this is the thing you're probably going to be interested in. By crafting or gathering specific items, players can obtain class-specific tools for Disciples of Hand and Land, which can be enhanced in future updates. So much like the Relic weapon series for combat roles, this one is obviously for your Disciple of Hand stuff. So what have we got here? So Mislaid Plans is the first quest line in obviously Foundation. You're going to be either a Disciple of Hand or Land to pick this up. And essentially, completing the quest Mislaid Plans, players will receive a Skysteel prototype coffer. Using this item, so like right-clicking it in your inventory, transforms it into a tool corresponding to the user's current class. Subsequent Skysteel prototype coffers can actually be obtained from Denny's, a new NPC in the Broom, at X8.0 and Y10.0. And you enhance these by basically creating a certain number of items and delivering them to Denny's in the Broom at the before-mentioned coordinates before it can be actually enhanced. Please note that the items they say required will vary depending on the actual tool. And we have some screenshots here of an oddly specific petrified orb being crafted there with white ash logs and oddly specific petrified logs. So these must be like maybe time nodes, stuff like that. You're going to have to go and gather this stuff. I believe there's some crafting involved in this. And there's different stuff depending if you're, you know, a Disciple of Hand, a Minor Botanist, or Fisher. So there is stuff for everybody here, as you can see. So you just have to sort of do whatever it tells you to. There's lots of recipes for everybody. They do say future Skysteel tool quests. Skysteel tools can be enhanced further by completing the story quest that will be added in future patches. Please note that by enhancing these tools, it may require players to invest a significant amount of time. So much like Relic weapons for combat roles, this is probably going to be quite the challenge as well, as I would expect. So yeah, in addition to this, new miner and botanist gathering points have been added, obviously. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get the stuff to craft this. They're all new items, new nodes, basically. And there's new items, as they say, and new fish have been added. That's the other one for Fisher specifically. So we're on to the last section now of the patch, which is the system changes. They say new achievements and titles have been added. We imagined that would actually happen. Additional duties and trials now count towards the completion of the tanking achievements, although they're leaving a question mark because they're not naming the trial for obvious reasons. And finally, the Raktik Greatwood will no longer be separated into multiple instances, and we also have some resolved issues at the bottom, which honestly don't seem to be that important, but there we go. Thank you all kindly for watching. Hopefully this was helpful to you if you don't want to go and read these yourself, or if you want to just hear me talk about them. I will have videos on this stuff in the game as I get to it. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to rush through the content as quickly as perhaps some people to get the footage that I need. So thank you all kindly for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. A link to these patch notes will be, of course, in the description, and I'll see you all next time.